Hello everyone, welcome to the today's session. Myself Bhavesh Patil, working in TechRevo Technologies as a Microsoft developer. Today's session will be more focused on RAML designing. So we will be discussing a more coding part related to the RAML. If you haven't watched our API related video, then I will suggest you to go through it. We have already discussed what is API schema, what are resources, common HTTP methods, common HTTP status codes, and many more. So I am assuming that you know all the topics we have discussed in our API related video. So without wasting more time, let's dive into the AnyPoint platform which will be using for our RAML code. So let's go. You can simply search for AnyPoint platform in Google. So searching AnyPoint platform, the first link you have to click. So yeah, I have already created my account on AnyPoint platform, so I don't want to create. But if you haven't created any account, so you can sign up from here. Just fill all the necessary details, fill the captcha, and accept and create account. After creating account, you can come over here and sign in again. So I'm signing from my credentials. So yeah, this is the AnyPoint platform. So we will be focusing on the RAML design. So go to the design center. Yeah, so this is the design center. So in design center you can just click here, create. So there are options for creating new fragments, new async APIs. So we'll be creating API specification, new API specification. So you can name your project name, give your project name as you want, but we'll be giving like first API RAML code. So first RAML code, and then we will be specifying our language as RAML 1.0. So RAML 0.8 is a earlier version, so we will be using 1.0. So just click over here, create API. But I have already created my API specification, so I don't want to create more. And I am just clicking first RAML code here. So yes, there is a RAML code. So we will be getting a root file as name as RAML 1.0 and our file name title as first RAML code. Let me give the basic introduction to the design center. So at the leftmost there is a files section. There will be all the files we will be creating further. So this is our root file named as first RAML code, and at the rightmost side there will be documentation automatically generated by the AnyPoint platform. So as we move forward, the documentation will be generated automatically by the AnyPoint platform. So let's start. So I want to create a resource name as accounts. So to create any resource, you have to start with slash. So giving slash accounts, and after accounts you have to give a column. So yes, so you can see at rightmost accounts resource is automatically created, and like API endpoints are created accounts. So yes, so enter. So you can see the indentation here. If you are familiar with the Python language, so at there we also use indentations. So here we don't use curly braces to define the scope of resources methods. So we use the indentations as used in a Python. So let's start. Also, if you have any errors in the RAML code, it will be shown here, project errors. And for the suggestions, you can just click over here. So there are the suggestions. So clicking on here, so enter. So there will be suggestions. So there are various methods we can form. So for just we want to create a get method which will be fetching all the account details. So methods we will just clicking on get. You can see automatically indentation is given by the endpoint platform. Get method is written. So in get method we want to return response. Whenever the get method is called, the response will be sent as 200 status code. Why 200? Because 200 is a 200 is a HTTP status code, which means okay or successful, and 201 is for created. So 201 will be used in the post whenever we want to create a post, but here we are fetching resources, so we want to use get. So in 200 status code there will be a body. In body we want to return a JSON file. If we want to return XML format, then you can, so you can just select XML So for now I'm going with JSON. So in JSON we will be returning example, and it will be like so as we know JSON is written in curly braces. So if you don't know what is JSON, so JSON is a JavaScript object notation. So like it is a representation of data. Like in the curly braces we will be representing it. If you don't know about anything about JSON, just Google it. You will be finding more examples and get familiar with the JSON. So we will be retaining a JSON. JSON is based on key value pairs. So the key is mentioned, like we can write message. Message will be written successfully, right? So yeah, we are done with now for now. So we have created accounts. There is accounts. We have created a get method. So to try a get method, you can just click here get method and try it. So here is the request URL, and going down just click on send. So request is sent to the server, and we have written 200. We have got 200 as HTTP status, which means okay, and there is a message returned successfully. If you want to do similar thing on the browser or the other device, you can use a mocking service. So you can make public. You can on the mocking service. So you can just copy this link and paste it over here. So yeah, you are getting like resource not request resource could not be found, because we have not mentioned resource at the last. So what is our resource? Resource is named as accounts. So we'll be pasting here accounts. Enter. So by default, accounts our browser is like set to call the get method. So whenever we are requesting for accounts, so get method is called, and our message is printed like return successfully, right? You can enable the pretty print extension for a better view of JSONs, right? Now consider if we want to insert query param here. So how we can do that? So if you don't know query param, I will suggest you go and watch API related video. So just for just if sake for introduction, let me search, like I am searching for in Google. So Bhavesh. So there is a keyword Bhavesh. So in URL you can see that after the search resource there is a question mark, which means Q is a query param. In query param there is a Bhavesh. So we are searching for particular person in our resource. If we like change here, so I want to search Patil. So automatically here Patil is displayed. So we want similar kind of thing for our accounts. So we want to search in our accounts for a particular customer, or you can say account number. So let's see how we can do that. So in get we will be enter. So just try to find where we are finding query param. Here is in parameters, there is a query parameters. So I have like insert in query parameter. So what will be our query parameter? In accounts we can like say account ID. So just account ID colon enter. So we have mentioned account ID as a query parameter, but what is its type? Like what kind of information it will be accepted? So let's consider it as a string for now. We can give many types of data types like boolean, date time only, file integers, and many more. So just for now, let's consider string enter. Similar to the type, there are many parameters used like max length, min length. We can specify the minimum and maximum length as a like validation part for our query parameter. So like minimum length of account ID should be 3 or 2, like that. So there is a most famous parameter like frequently used parameter as required. So we can mention it is required or like true or false. So if it is true, so it will be required. It should be a mandatory field, without which it will not move further, like would not proceed further. So if we do it like false, it will be not required. Like you can see in documentation simultaneously endpoint is updating. So without using required, you can also make it as a not mandatory field by using the question mark after the account ID. Like if I specify question mark, like you can see account ID is not required now. If I remove the question mark, account ID is required. It is an old way of mentioning required or not required, or else you can always use required field, but it is not need needed to use because it is by default required, right? So just for learning, you can mention it as false. So if it is false, now false means what? Like we don't need to specify account ID, right? So we can go to like reload. So yeah, message returned successfully. But if we like go and change it as true, so the account ID is a mandatory field now. So we should mention it, without which the query will not be get executed. Now if we reload, there will be a request validation error. So there is error. What is error? Like message is given, required parameter account ID is missing. So we need to specify the account ID. So how we can specify it? It is as a query parameter. So we should give question mark. Then what was your like query parameter name, account ID. So equal to, and then we can write whatever account ID is. Like we can like let's suppose SBI 07. Like enter. So yeah, message returned successfully, right? If we give it here like somewhat parameters like max length should be 5, and what should be the minimum length should be 2, like like making it a 4 and make it as a 6, right? So minimum length should be 4. If it is not there, so validation error will be occurring. So let's verify, reload. So it is returning successfully. Why? Like account ID is more than 4 but less than 10. So make it as a 3. So it should throw a validation error. Enter. Request validation error. Expected minimum length 4 but actual was 3. Like provided was 3. You can simply try over it. Over here, try it like mentioning account ID. You can specify any then send. So yes, 200. Okay. If you are giving validation error, so what status code will be displayed? Guess. Okay, let's try. So 400 will be status code will be written as bad request. So it is a bad request. Why it was a bad request? Because validation error was occurred. Validation error was like account ID is expected to be having minimum length 4 but you have provided 2. If we mention like pass the validation, so written successfully, right? For now we have created accounts resource and get method. So let's minimize the get method. So I can't create more methods with the same name. Like I want to create a get method again, so it will be thrown error like duplicate key. So there should be no method or resource name as same, like having similar names. There can be a get method with like within another resource, but there should be now no two duplicate methods within the same resource. So now let's remove it. I want to create a post method. So yeah, so in post I want to like post method will create an account. So to create account we need a username and password, right? So in post method we will be passing the body. In body we will be passing like application JSON type. So in application JSON type we will be providing the some properties like what should be the variables passed in the body. So first of all we need a username, right? Username. So username type should be string itself, right? And of course it will be required. So in username, like now we want password. Yeah. So password should be also a type of string, right? Yeah. So now we want to pass a response. Like after passing the body having username and password, our post method should give a response. So let me minimize body. So there should be a response, like responses. So responses. So post method we used to create a account. To create, so there will be 201 method So 201 method signifies created. So that's why we have mentioned 201. But here we can also use 400, like 404. Like we are designing our API. So we can mention it, like we can mention anything or any status code which we want. But it is like, you can say, the preferred to mention like the status codes we use usually for that request. So it will be significance for the others to consume our API. So yeah, 201 body application JSON example. So what should be response? Response should be account created. So yeah, response should be account created, right? Yes. So there is a body and there is a response. You can see, yeah, this is our body and this is the response. So you can just click here. So yeah, here is a summary endpoints. So only one endpoint we have created till now. So in accounts there is a like in overview we can see get and post method. So post method try it. So yeah, obviously it is a request URL. So now going downward. So body, in body you have to pass username. So something as username, something as password, and then send it. So yeah, we got it. Response create account created. So we can also give restrictions or pass various parameters, like we want a minimum length of username should be like 3 or 2, right? So just min length. So what should be minimum length? Let's suppose 3. And what should be the maximum length? So max length should be, can say like 10, suppose 10, right? So password, so min length should be, like minimum length should be 6, right? And maximum length consider as 10 itself. Okay, so now if I provide username as 12 and password as 12345, what should be status code written? 404, right? Yeah, bad request. Why it is bad request? Validation error, because we have not provided a minimum 3 characters to the username. So we have to provide, like we will go like ABC, password should be minimum 6, so 6, we can have 7 8, right? But less than 10, right? Send. So 201 created, response is sended as account created, right? You can try it by yourself, explore more, right? So yeah, we have created post and get method. So let's now create put method. So hiding post, so just create put method. So as you know, put method updates, like we use put method to update, like what we want to update. So for just for now we can update the username and password. So in body we will be sending application JSON username and password which should be updated. So we can use a code from here, like, right? So we will be passing username and password itself. So yeah, just copied it and pasted it, right? We'll be passing body application JSON type, properties should be username, password, and all these things mandatory, right? So what should be the response? So yeah, we should send response as, for put we need updated. So just for now, suppose like we want to send 204, right? So in body we want application JSON example. So just create action updated, right? Okay, so yeah, there is a post put method. So click put, try it. So if we send it, so 400 about, like bad request, sorry. So username should be, and yeah, send it. 0 response contains no body. Responses has a body, right? Yeah, just a second. send it. Yeah, there is so 200. Okay, action updated. If we fail, like similar to the post, if we do not provide proper validation, so 404 will occur. So if you are observing this, like, body is repeating, like this block of statements are repeating in post 2 and in put 2. So we don't want our code to be lengthy and look so complex. So we want to create a file which will be containing this all stuff, and we will be using it here and in post method too, or wherever we will be using further. So to create that, we will be using the file system, right? So just create file. So now we will be creating a new folder name as schemas. Yeah, so in schemas we will be storing all the variables and the schema we want to specify. So here new file. So we don't want to create a new specification, right? So we just want to create a data type. In data type we can say login data type. Yeah, login data type dot raml. So we follow the camel case here, right? Create. So you can select data type, enter. So we want to put our this data where, yeah, properties. So we will be cutting from here and putting it here, right? In documentation we can see for our login data type RAML there is a username string, password string, right? So going back to the root file, so in post body is not showing any, you can say data type. So we need to include here. So to mention the what we have specified in login data type, we need to include it here. So we can specify type exclamation include and then the file name schemas login data type, right? So now here is the schema. You can check, like you can verify if it is working similar to the first, right? So yeah, bad request. Whenever we put the sufficient amount of length, then response is account created, right? But it is like looking more you can say proper, like suitable, right? So similar thing we want to do in our put. So just copy this and paste it here, right? Similar for the, like you can check for the put. So for put also there is a body username example, right? So yeah, it is looking more prettier than first one and like more smaller, right? So what else we can put in our also the examples should be put in, like we can create a more folders like name as example. So in example I will be creating a file. So I want example for my gate, right? So I don't want to create again a specification, I want example to be created. So example get methods example. You can name it as per your requirement. So for now we are naming it as get example. So creating, so you can say it is example. So in example just copy this message and paste it here, right? Going back, now we want to include it here. So you can just exclamation include, and we have two options, example and schemas folder, but we want example. So we will go in example folder. There is a get example, right? In get we can look at, yeah, we are getting it, get example, message returned successfully, and get, there is, yeah, message written successfully. If you don't want get example to appear here, you can just simply remove from here, right? I have removed from here, so yeah, it will be removed, right? A JSON file is written, message written successfully. Similarly, we can put this and this example to the separate file. Just let me create quickly. I want put example, right? Put example. I just want my, yes, right. So mentioning here include examples, put example, right? Similar for the, you can say, post method. So we can create a file example post example, right? Going back, include example, and now post example. Now we can see that we have used our, like, we are not duplicating our code again and again. Instead of, we have saved our duplicated code in a file named schema and example, and using it whenever we want to use, just by including the file name, right? So we are reducing the redundancy of our code. But you can see, like, we are using schema login data type 2 times here, and it may be possible further we will be using again and again, like login credentials are required everywhere, like, right? So we don't want to include it again and again, so we can also use to reduce this redundancy. There is, like, we can mention like types, so types, and in which we can like give the name to our types, like login. So just my name, login, and then here we will be including the file schemas and the login data, right? So instead of using login here, we will be just specifying login, right? Similarly here, login, right? You can check, like, verify here if it is working absolutely as it was working earlier. So try it. Yeah, created response, right? Similar for the example, you can create a types, so it will reduce the redundancy of our code, make it more readable. Similarly, you can create various resources. So just me drop down this. Yeah, so we can create various methods, like just create a customer, right? Creating a new resource, customer. Here also we will be using get method in body, like, sorry, we don't pass body in get method, so but you can obviously. Yeah, so in get method responses, and responses 200 status code, body, application JSON, example, and you can just mention your message, customer details, right? You can try exploring yourself, like inserting here a new query param name as customer ID, as we have done in accounts, right? I will, like, just keep it for you, you can try it, right? Then similarly here also we want something as post, so in post we also, like, again we want to login, so in login, so like for login, body application JSON, In that we want type and login, right? So in this way we can like reuse the, like whenever we mention the types, so we can reuse it whenever we want, like in the customer also and in any other method or any other resources. So you can see that there is a get method again, but there was already a get method, but it is in another resource, so it is fine. So it will not like create any conflict, so it is okay. So again post login, then mentioning the response. Where is the responses, right? 201 body application JSON example. And similarly we can like create again a new example file in the example folder, but let it be message created. Mm, right, okay. So we can try it from here. We will be go with summary. So there are two endpoints now, accounts and customer. Accounts having get, post and put, customer having get and post only methods. So post method, right? There is a username required. Similarly there is a get method. You can just try it out from here, like sending it. So customer resources details will be fetched, customer details, right? And our endpoint will be backslash customer. For accounts it was account, right? So try it accounts, and as we have mentioned the query parameter, so question mark and our query parameter. Till now we have created two resources, accounts and customer. Accounts having get, post and put method, and customer having get and post method, right? So to learn further you can just visit a RAML website, raml.org, and click here learn RAML. In the RAML 200 tutorials, you will be finding the basic introduction to the RAML. So the root, what is the root, what are the resources, like nested resources, we will be seeing further definitely. So you can just try exploring from here. There are many things covered like root, resources, methods, URI param, query param, responses. And after you have completed RAML 100 tutorials, you can go further for the 200 tutorial, which will be including the advanced concept in the RAML, like body parameter and the resource types, refactor traits, etc. So you can definitely visit the RAML org and explore these tutorials. Thank you for now.